All right, ladies and gentlemen, on this beautiful Tuesday afternoon, the Wallace Way podcast chat, whatever you want to call it, is back again with another edition. Today's guest is the legendary Adam
Well,
Bernard. He is legendary in his own mind, right?
that's yeah, but that's a really big word right there. I don't want to let anybody down. If they're like, "Who?"
Nah, this brother is definitely doing big things though. He's an author, he's a blogger, he's a reporter, he's an all-around dope guy, premium content creator. So it's a pleasure introducing and meeting this brother. So we're gonna get right into it. How are we doing today, sir?
Oh, it's good, man. It's good. It's been a good day, and hey, every day's a good day now.
Now, who you telling? Who you telling? This is a special thing from your perspective. So tell us how you got started in the whole industry.
I mean, in terms of writing, that actually came about because when I was younger, I wasn't super good at sports. I've always done the martial arts my whole life, but in terms of like the type of team sports you could be on in school and those things,
Mm-hmm.
so I wanted to be a little closer to sports, and writing about it was sort of the next best thing. And then, I took journalism as an undergrad. I did all the stuff you do as an undergrad in journalism. And then when I got out of school, it was the year 2000.
Okay.
And that
Okay.
was kind of before the internet truly blew up
Mm-hmm.
for
Mm-hmm.
certain things. And before ESPN had like 75 different offshoot channels and every conference had another channel. So there wasn't quite as much opportunity in sports, which I think might confuse younger people who are like, what are you talking about? But no, there really wasn't. I remember I was covering a high school girls soccer game because that's what you do when you're starting out.
Right. Right.
And the two other reporters were like in their 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was like, you know, if I'm still going to be doing this at 40, we're doing my next great love in life, which is music.
There you go.
So
There you go.
transitioned right to music and never looked back. It's been 20 years in the industry, really cool. And yeah, it's been a great ride, man. I've enjoyed it. I've enjoyed helping out a lot of artists. I do love working with indie artists, but
Mhm.
back in the day, I also did the bigger names as well. So that was fun as well, getting to meet some of your musical heroes.
Yeah, no
And
doubt, no doubt.
yeah, keep
You
going.
just
There's no
so
stopping. I always wondered if I was going to be the oldest guy at the show. And well, once shows come back, I will be.
hey, listen. If the Stones can still tour and they came last year, um,
Yeah.
and I wanted to go, I wanted to take my dad, but just didn't work out. But I mean, Mick Jagger just had a kid. He's like 75. He
Yeah,
might be
that's
older
kind
than
of
that.
crazy.
But I
Like,
mean,
I can't imagine, like, how's he going to teach his kid how to throw a ball?
listen, if you could survive 75 years with that lifestyle,
Yeah.
throwing, pitching, catching is no biggie at this point.
I love that Keith Richards, like, finally gave up drinking. Like, why? You've made
Yeah.
it this far.
At this point, just Keith Richards got to the point where he wasn't even taking drugs. He was just putting them in a blender, and that's
Yeah.
his morning smoothie. Very talented guys though.
Oh, God, amazing. His autobiography is incredible.
I need to read that one. I need to read
Yeah.
it. He's I mean, like you said, they just been out forever. They was like in their 30s when my parents were growing up. So it's like
Yeah.
it's amazing that they're still out. So you know what? Now tell me about. So actually, I found you online and I was looking at the your book. Tell me about Kimbro.
Kimbro, embracing beast mode to beat cancer. We'll get
Yes,
that all in
yes,
there. Boom. Available everywhere books are sold.
that's right.
Uh,
Major plugs. We plug everyone on this show. So please go to Amazon, pick up 14 copies, and give them all away for
that would be
Christmas
awesome.
gifts, Kwanzaa gifts, Hanukkah gifts, whatever gifts you want to do.
One for every single night of Hanukkah. Go for it.
Yes, yes, and shalom while you're at it. Okay.
But basically, by the way, for anyone watching, I'm going to make it brighter in here in a little bit. We're just waiting for the sun to set.
There you go.
Basically, January 2017, I was in training to test for my 5th degree black belt. I'm also one of those crazy CrossFit people, but I did wait 4.5 minutes to say that in here. So I'm not, it's not the first thing I say.
Okay.
And I felt a pain in my man region, and I thought, it's a groin pull, whatever. And it was not whatever. And I waited too long.
Mm.
And when I finally got it checked out and it was cancer, I got a CAT scan. It had spread to one of my lungs. which is actually testicular cancer on the lung. It's not lung cancer. The only thing that matters about that is it's treated differently. So I had surgery. I went through super aggressive chemo. Then I tested for my 5th-degree black belt. Then I found out I needed another surgery. So I actually, for some reason, the chemo cleared up the cancer. Spoiler alert, I'm alive. And but the tumor went from having cancer to not having cancer, but still being a tumor.
Wow.
So they were like, yeah, this is still growing. We need to remove it and part of your lung. And I was like, well, that's not fun. And the book is because while I was working out and doing all these things, I was still working out 6 days a week. While I was doing all these things, a bunch of people were like, you really need to write about this, because they know I'm a writer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, I'm just a guy who's just refusing to quit. Like, I'm a guy who basically took this diagnosis and said, okay, this is going to be an aggravation, but I'm still going to live my life. I'm still just going to, be me. And finally, one of my buddies pulled me to the side. He's like, most people don't think that way. So I said, all right, let me write down what I've done. And I'm one of those really old people who keeps a paper calendar. So I just started flipping through it, and I knew what happened on what day. Mm-hmm. And I remembered a surprising amount of stuff for being in a hospital and on morphine. So that was impressive to me. And yeah, the book came out, and it came out of me, and it was all on there. And I'm like, this is really something. So I started pitching it. It did take a while to pitch it, because I started by pitching it to agents and sort of got nowhere. So then I started looking at publishers that accept non-agented submissions. And I found Dreaming Big Publications, which happens to be run by another cancer survivor. And she immediately connected with it, and we got it together. And yeah, it came out a couple months ago. And we've now reached the level of darkness where I have to open these shades so people don't think I live in a cave. All right.
No,
see if
man,
we can go full open. Yeah.
There you go. And on the 7th day, God said, let there be light.
Exactly. Right? And now I look so pale when it's this. All right. Yeah.
Dude, that is an insane story. It's an insane, it's a testament to your strength. And like you said, you just wasn't giving up. Like, you just was like a fighter. And so like, how did you feel during the chemo treatments?
It was, the interesting thing is, I went through a whole bunch of different doctors before I found the ones I wanted to work with.
Okay.
And one of the many reasons that I ended up writing this book in the end, what I sort of found out why I wrote it after all was said and done, where I was like, I wanted to inspire others in whatever their fight they're going through, whether it's physical, mental, emotional, sort of tap into their own inner warrior. Because again, I didn't consider myself anything special. I just consider myself, hey, I got this diagnosis, but it doesn't mean I'm going to quit. Chemo's not fun. It's not, I don't want to say it isn't as bad as people think it is, because there are elements of it that really are. But what I learned was, by working out, it actually counteracted a little bit of the fatigue. I was still pretty much borderline useless after about 4 p.m., which is odd for someone who goes to concerts all the time. Mm-hmm. But I was doing a super hyper aggressive chemo. It was like, some people go in like once a week or, once a month. I was going in, it was 9 weeks. There were 3-week cycles. The first week I went in 5 days a week. Then I went in 1 day a week, 1 day a week. And then I repeated all that twice. Wow. So I sort of made the 5 days a week, I just made it part of my schedule. I'd wake up in the morning, grab my laptop, grab some breakfast, and just head on in and act like it was my office. It was,
I was about to say, in a way, you took it like a work day. Like, it was a structured work day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get up, boom, do this, do that. And man, that is insane. I was, my mother passed away from cancer when I was 14.
I'm so sorry. That's terrible, man.
No, it's insane. It's still, people say you get over it, and like you say, you move on. The sun still comes up, but that shit is just a monkey that is.
Yeah, I think you said different. Move on and get over it are two totally different things.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, and I remember when she was on chemo. Now, this was like, say I was 39. It was like 25 years ago. So I'm sure the game has changed different. But the chemo would just, she just would just she wouldn't even be there. Like it would just drain her energy and her zest, and it was intense. It was intense. It was intense. And then to hear that you were working out while you was still
Yeah.
going through chemo, I'm like,
There were a
damn.
whole bunch of things I had to change. They were like, you can't lift heavy
Right.
because of what it does to the blood, and there's all these other things I couldn't do. But a buddy of mine who owns the gym I go to, which I'm actually borderline advertising for right here because it's on
There
my
you go. There you
my
go.
shirt.
Plug it up, man.
But he put together some workouts for me specifically because he knew the drug related limitations I was going to have,
Right.
and got through it. And yeah, also with the surgeries, the stitches and that sort of thing, that there were limitations with that
Couldn't do
too.
a lot of squatting and stuff like that.
Yeah, stuff that could not happen.
No
So
doubt.
yeah, the weights were dialed down a lot sometimes. You're not deadlifting 300 pounds while you're going through chemo.
No.
Yeah, you might be happy if you're deadlifting like 135.
But it's just the mere fact that you step to your regimen, your routine, it definitely probably had a calming effect on you while you was doing it. Like, because I'm sure there's
Definitely.
some days when you was just worn out, you know?
Yeah, and there were days where like I would come back from a workout and just be like, okay, I'm clearly done for the day. Just clearly done for the day.
Now, what about
That
like
that was enough.
as far as food and stuff? Like, what were you eating while you was taking chemo? What were you
Yeah.
eating? Could you eat regular food, or how did that work out?
I mean, I'm one of those disgustingly healthy people that other people hate when they find out about that. I haven't had fast food or soda since 2002.
Wow.
So yeah, which also it really pissed me off when I got cancer because I was like, wait a minute,
I'm
I
the one
work
that should
out,
be all
I
right,
eat
right?
right. What the hell's going on here? One of my buddies was even like, man, it's like if you can get it, anyone can. I'm like, thanks.
Yeah, right.
So
So
yeah, I was still eating a ton. Uh, Basically anything I could stomach, I would eat, with the exception of no fast food, no sodas, nothing like
mhm.
that. But
Having
yeah, a lot of trips to various grocery stores.
yeah. So as far as do you get monthly checkups? Like, how does it work now that you're kind of all that
Well,
stuff
now
behind
that
you?
I'm 3 years in remission, it's every 12 weeks I'm still getting blood tests,
Mm.
and once a year I have to see the what I call the junk doctor, uh, and he's got to make sure everything's still good down there.
That's
So I don't
so
know how long. I think it's 5 years before I then switch off to maybe it's every half year or something like that. But
right.
it's a long term deal.
That's insane, man. And it just it's understandable because as guys, we want to be like the tough guys and shit, right? Like
Yeah,
oh no, this is just this hurts this hurts this hurts that, and you're just like, oh, it's whatever. And the fact that something was hurting you, and initially you were like, nah, I'm good. This is nothing. This will just pass.
exactly. It's a groin.
And
It's a good groin strain. Whatever. Yeah.
right, and that's insane. And we got to do better as men to go to the doctors, take care of each other. And I know that's something that's like it happens with age and maturity, and as you get families married and stuff like that, your spouses and your parents tell you to take care of yourself because as we all get older, we just start to see we don't recover as fast as we don't recover as fast. Like last year I had my 20th high school reunion, and I was like, I'm gonna wild out, right? Like I didn't see my people in a minute. We're gonna wild out, do our thing. Man, it took me almost a week to recover from drinking all that. Like
Yeah.
the recovery time, you can do it in the moment, but the recovery time is so ill.
Yeah. On my birthday this year, I just had a couple of drinks, and I woke up the next morning. I'm like, wait a minute, just off of a couple drinks now? That's not fair.
That's
Like
it,
I'm,
man.
I'm not 20 something anymore.
It happens quick, but no, that's 1,000%, man. I love this story, man. That's your story. The book, it needs to be told. It really does, man. It needs to be told on a grand scale level of about personal care, especially for men.
Thank you. Yeah, we got to check ourselves out more, and a lot of the stuff in this book, it goes into some real gritty details about testicular cancer and what goes
Mhm.
on and after the surgery and things like that, because I feel like some people may ask, like, "Oh, isn't that embarrassing?" I'm like, listen, I've lived it already. I can't be. I've been naked on multiple operating tables at this point. It's
Mhm.
whatever to me. If my embarrassment can help someone else get over it and
Mhm.
potentially go get tested, that's great. Like when I was going through it, someone on Facebook hit me up and said, "You're being so open about this. I was worried, so I went and got tested." I was like,
Yes.
"That's amazing," because
That's
it's not
powerful right there.
it's not the scariest thing in the world. Like it sucks to have someone else groping down there that you're not romantically interested in, but it is what it is. And also, I mean, we keep saying men's health, which it is. If you have a significant other who happens to go down there
Mm.
and she notices, I guess she or he, but she notices something down there.
Mhm.
I
Mhm.
mean, ladies, please let us know. Maybe
Yeah.
not in the moment, but after the moment, say, hey, something felt a little odd.
Right. No,
And
it,
then,
1,000%. And like you said, we gotta get over that ego, that being embarrassed, shy, whatever. This is our life, and this
yeah,
is as we get older, it becomes way more paramount, if you will. But dude, the book, like I said, we got to plug it. We got to definitely get it out there. Yes, everyone needs to buy 4 or 5 copies and give them to your buddies. Like we give our boys gifts like New York Yankee t-shirts, hats. Nah, give them something that could really help them in life. And if they're going through a moment and maybe they don't want to talk about it at that time, the book can open it up and not add the pressure and stress.
I found out like multiple people I knew had this and just never told anyone.
Never
And it
told,
wasn't
right?
until I had it, they were like, "Oh, by the way, I had this too." Why weren't you talking about it?
It's guys are weird. We're a weird bunch, even with our buddies. We're like topical in a way. Like we don't talk about anything but sports and music and girl. Like it's
Pretty
nothing
much.
that it's nothing that's like important and shit that's really real. So, but bro, I like I'm blessed and to actually meet you and see your strength and it's awesome, man. We're gonna get that book out there. That book's gonna blow up. That book is
Thank you.
definitely gonna blow up. It needs to blow up. It needs to be
It's
read.
I'm already happy with the reviews that have been coming in and the way it's
Mhm.
been affecting people like so positively. And yeah, just hoping to get more out there and help more people and do whatever I can because that's
Doubt.
why I'm still here.
No doubt. All right, let's move on to a little happier topic. Your music journalist career, and you write an incredible blog. We're going to
Thanks.
plug that, of course. And you do something called pop shots, where you go back in time for a specific week or a point in time and shows what was on the charts at that time, the musical Billboard charts, right?
Yeah, like this column, I've actually been doing it for almost 600 weeks. So
Wow.
sometimes it's topical. Sometimes I'm making sort of poking fun at what's going on in the pop world and pop culture in general.
Hmm.
Occasionally, I take a really serious topic and go into it. It was, I think, last year that I went into the whole weaponizing of fan bases that artists tend to do. That's become very dangerous. But I love doing every couple weeks, just taking a look at a random year and seeing what we were listening to. Especially because, listen, at 42, there's some good pop music out there. I'm not going to deny that. That there's some really great music being made today. Most of the music I listen to is indie, but there is great pop music being made. But we all have a special thing for the stuff we grew up with.
Right. Oh, no doubt, no doubt.
So
What they
yeah,
say, the music that you love at 12 is the music you'll love the rest of your life.
it really it's funny though. Some of the stuff, maybe it's because of the transitions hip hop made or the transitions I made personally. But some of the angry stuff I'd listened to as a teenager, I listen to it now and I'm like, man, I'm glad I'm not pissed off like that anymore. Like,
It's yeah, age, mellows you, right? It's like wine,
yeah,
it can mellow
it
you out.
should.
So in your last entry was 2 days ago. You went back 29 years ago on the charts. So what is
Yeah,
that,
91,
1990?
91.
1991. And the first song you covered was Prince's Cream. Now you made a good point. Like we were talking earlier, Prince videos are just I mean, for 1991, it's insane. Like the sexual nature of it, and it's not done in a corny, trashy way. It's done in a very I don't know, like it wasn't offensive in a way. It was like
No, it was like erotic, but it wasn't. it didn't reach some sort of level where it was like pornographic, despite the chorus.
Yes, right. And then you made a good point. You was also saying that Prince of the 90s you felt was better than Prince of the 80s. Unpack that for me.
Yo, that is like one of my like 2 or 3 hottest takes that people love to argue. Prince of the 80s is like legendary. And we know that's when he came up. He gave us Purple Rain. He gave us all those amazing songs. But when you listen to those songs, they're 80s songs.
Okay.
Like they are definitely from an era. But 90s Prince, when you listen to those songs, they're so timeless. They could be from any time. My favorite Prince song is not a big single. It's The Morning Papers, off of the Symbol album, which I still think is one of his best albums because it also had 7.
Was that the album? Was that the one that had like 15 discs? It came in like it was sold in like a bubble.
No, this was the one that just had the symbol on the cover, and the background was like a shot, like an overhead shot from the 7 video.
Okay.
It also had Sexy Motherfucker and a few other. Oh, if I'm allowed to curse. Too late.
Go for it, bro.
So that album, it was just so good, and a lot of the other stuff from that era, where you could release it at any point in time, and it would still be timely, it would still be relevant, it would still be gorgeous.
Right.
A lot of the production from the earlier Prince stuff is 80s. Yeah. And that is something about the 80s where, as much as we love it, it has to be in the 80s.
Nah, that's a really good point.
Over. Like, Flock of Seagulls can't release Iran right now. It just wouldn't work.
Yeah. The 80s was, like you said, it was so distinct, cheesy. It fit, of course. It fit. Yeah. There's no doubt about it. It fit at the time.
We were playing around with synths for the first time, and now our synth game is like so ridiculously incredible, and now we have computer programs that do it for us.
Right.
Yeah, it's the difference between like the first synths and like the drum machines of now.
Yeah, the 808 the 808 still used, but it's like you said, now it's on steroids.
Basically, that's the perfect way to put it.
Wow, that's the Prince take. I know the Prince. I'm a Prince fan. I'm not a massive Prince fan per se. I had to watch Purple Rain because my older sister would make us watch it.
Required, yeah.
It was required. And I always gravitated toward the doctor guy because I was like, that dude looks weird as shit, but he's the doctor. What was his name? Dr. Funkenstein. What was his name? Dr. Finkel.
Oh, but it can't be Funkenstein because isn't that George Clinton?
That's George Clinton, right? That's probably it. But it was something like Doctor something, and I saw.
I haven't seen it so long.
Purple Rain comes on BET quite often. It was on Netflix, and I mean, it's a cheesy. You know what? It's not the worst movie though. Like it's not corny. It's just like you said. It's an '80s. It's an '80s flick. But
the '80s were a certain time, and everything from the '80s fits into it perfectly.
Yes. I would say the '80s is probably the most pivotal time. It birthed a lot of styles, and even the way we do things today, you can be seen in the '80s. Like it was a magical time. It was a great time to grow up in.
And then the next,
right. The next song you had on there was Boyz II Men. It's So Hard to Say Goodbye. What did you like about that song? I mean, everyone liked it, but what did you?
Boyz II Men was so amazing. Like Jesus, what a vocal group! Like they're still good now, but let's face it, they haven't been the same since the bass was forced to leave due to medical reasons. Because that bass man, he was everything.
Yeah, he was.
Like he set the tone, and then he'd always have that moment, not in that song, but in so many songs, where he'd just be like, "Hey, girl," and you knew he was going to talk for the next verse, and it was fine. No, he was about to romance your lady for you.
That was a great song, great album, great band, 100%. Boyz II Men. Matter of fact, I think they were performing at the Maryland State Fair like 2 years ago. Like, wow. I don't know where their career is going, but as long as you got hits, you can always perform. You can always do Vegas, right?
Yeah, and I think they did at some point. And as long as you have hits, the streaming is going to be fine. Streaming is good for you if you have hits.
If you got hits, streaming is yes, that's a great point. All right, the next song we had on the charts back then, 1991, was OPP. Which is, I mean, it's a smash hit. It's a a timeless song. It's played at every arena. It's just timeless. It's
And
just
how
timeless.
weird is it that like you and I as children were singing the lyrics to OPP?
We had no idea. We would just sing
None.
because this shit was dope. It
Yeah.
flowed. It had energy. We're like, OPP, how can you explain it? It's like, we didn't know. What the fuck?
No idea. And I always waited for the part at the end of the video where he put the sticker on the girl's
on her
butt.
butt. Right.
Yeah.
Dude, that song was it'll never go out of style. Never.
And Tretch is so freaking underrated as an MC. I will continue to write it and continue to say it.
I think he was so ahead of his time, and I think that the songs became so poppy that, you know, it wasn't the keeping it real aspect of it at that time, because, you know, at 91 he had that crazy fast flow, but then by 93, 94 music became so hardcore and so like keeping it real that I don't think he gets the props and credit that he deserves.
Because he even brought that in there with I mean, people remember OPP, but the other songs from that album,
Uptown Anthem,
gritty as hell.
Gritty as hell. No, 1000%. The group doesn't get the props they deserve. Vinny,
no, they really do deserve more props, and it's crazy that they don't. One of my friends put on a couple of my friends a while back put on a show at the old BB King's in New York City where they were getting indie artists to cover certain stuff from, I believe it was 93. It's one of those years. And one of my buddies had a Naughty by Nature song, and he was like, dude, he's like, you don't realize how tough these songs are to rap until you have to memorize them. He's like, those verses are nuts.
Yeah, because he's like, he's squeezing a lot in bars. He's squeezing a lot of words in those bars.
Yeah.
No, there's no doubt about it. OPP classic song, never gonna go out. Let's see what else. We also had Emotions by Mariah Carey. At that point, she was very she was new by then. 91, that was her first album, right?
I think it was, or maybe been her second album, because she released two of them like back to back. I'm not sure which one came first, but I gotta say, I got one Mariah Carey story. I was at the press conference when Dame Dash was announcing Rockefeller Records had signed Old Dirty Bastard, fresh out of prison.
Okay, yes, sir.
And for some reason, Mariah Carey was there.
Right. Okay.
And this isn't like a press conference, like a sports press conference where everyone's like separated and all that kind of stuff. It was basically in a room. We had chairs. They were at the front of the room. It was more like a classroom atmosphere.
Okay.
And Mariah Carey walks in, and she's just standing up against the wall. And it was, I have to say, her beauty was so breathtaking. It like the whole room just sort of like had to gasp for air and stop when she walked in. She was just one of those people. She probably still is. She just walks into a room and just everyone's attention is on her.
Yes, 1000. I can totally see it. I've never met her, of course, or even been in the room. But
I didn't even like have the nerve. Like, listen, I was working that day and still did not like everything in me wanted to be like, hey, what's up? But like, no, I was not going to go up to her in any way, shape, or form. But everything in me wanted to just be like, what's up? What you doing here?
Yeah. You come here often or what?
Yeah. Listen, getting shot down by Mariah Carey would be an awesome story.
Totally. I'm with it. Cool, right? Like, yo, she her voice powerful, crazy, very talented. I mean, she's a legend. Flat out.
She hits that high, like she had that 7-octave
her
range.
octaves were sick, right? No doubt about it. And I love the album she came back with, because after Glitter she got cold. You know, everybody was cold to her, and it was like she fell off. She's old, you know. But then she came back with that album with Jermaine Dupri.
Yeah,
who wrote most of it, and that shit was dope. That was a very good album.
The rare album where Jermaine Dupri worked with someone who could like legally drive.
Come on now, chill, man. JD's a legend too, bro.
He is. He gave us Usher.
I'm about to say the Usher Confessions, probably one of the top 5 R&B albums I've ever heard.
That's a hell of an album.
Crazy.
Yeah. I once accidentally ate food that was meant for Usher's crew. We were at an after party for the 8701 tour in Hartford, Connecticut, way upstate. And it was, listen, we were so good, me and a buddy of mine, at talking our way into these things, because like we had press tickets to the concert, but we had no business being at the after party. And we talked our way in. We talked our way into the VIP, where like clearly we weren't supposed to be, because it was all women and Usher. This was well before he was like married or any of that.
Right.
And they brought out this food, and we were like, "Oh, cool, we're getting food because we're in VIP." And we like took a plate, and then we sort of saw like Usher was taking it, and nobody else was other than his crew. And we just sort of like after we finished, just like ditch the plate in the precious garbage can. Like, it wasn't us.
Dude, you guys, I know you got some killer stories, but you definitely got to come back on and just do like a unpacking the killer stories. So the last two songs you had, "Enter the Sandman" by the
Enter Sandman, man, Metallica.
Still to this day, if that song's not on your gym playlist, I don't know what you're doing. You're not really in the zone if that song's not on the playlist. I know Virginia Tech for football, that's the song they come out to. Shit'll get you ready to hit anything.
Seriously, it was also both Billy Wagner and Mariano Rivera's,
Yes, Mariano. I mean, I'm not a Yankees fan, I'm a Nats fan, but I get it. The guy was great.
I'm a Mets fan, so screw you all.
Did you, matter of fact, did you hear about Robinson Cano today?
No, what did he do today?
He just got popped for his second PED. He's banned for the whole year, forfeiting $24 million.
You know what? Forfeiting $24 million means we're not paying him, and we have the richest owner in baseball now. So, I know. Welcome to the team, Francisco Lindor. I don't know when this is going to officially air, but at some point in time, Lindor is going to be a Met, and I just want to be the first one to welcome you to the team.
There you go. There you go.
Who will be there, and we'll move Jimenez over to second. Or we can have McNeil at second. It'll be beautiful. But enter Sandman.
Yeah, incredible. Like you said, just and that's actually not my favorite Metallica song. Truth be told, my favorite Metallica song is One. I love One.
The guitar solo.
I remember watching One with my sister. This is in the MTV era, kids. Like, when there was no internet, you know what I'm saying? So MTV was where you got everything. You got your news, your Kurt Loaders would pop up, dun dun dun, give you the news. Headbangers Ball was it was just, MTV was the pinnacle of music pop culture at one point, and it wasn't that long ago.
Wanted to watch and did watch. Like if a kid was fighting to get cable in his household, that's why.
Oh, 1,000%. So One, I used to watch that video with my sister, and that shit was like scary. Like I never even know what movie it came from. I still haven't found it.
Yeah, it was disturbing as hell.
It was disturbing as hell, but the breakdown was dope. Lars killed it. One's a great song. Enter the Sandman's a great song. Metallica's fucking great song. Even though, like you said, what they did to Napster is just unacceptable.
Oh, the Napster thing was so disappointing. Like, if someone was gonna fight Napster, it should have been someone who needed money.
Yeah, right. Like, but hey, that's the hill they climbed on, and they're all right. They're good. And the last song you said was Josies Forever, My Lady, which is, I mean, it's like you said, like R&B was just a special time. And Jodeci, see, back in the day, you had the factions. You had either you was Boyz II Men or you was Jodeci, right? Like, and they both were super dope, right?
Yeah.
Jodeci was like the bad boys, though, and Boyz II Men.
They had the leather jackets.
Yeah, they had puff. They had the Jodeci spoke to a certain breed. What Boyz II Men did too, but they were just more commercially accepted. I love them both. I mean, you can't talk R&B without either one of those groups. They're fucking incredible.
I feel like Boyz II Men was for loving. Jodeci was for breaking some headboards. It was for some breaking some bed frames.
And they were just like, it's funny because they were like country kids though. Like,
That is true. Yeah, where are they from?
They're from North Carolina, I believe.
Yeah, so yeah.
And Boyz II Men from like West Philly, right? Like people, you know what I mean? So it was a cool dichotomy, and but you just can't talk R&B without those two. It's just you can't. And
then you've got Tony came in, Mint Condition came in, you have Babyface doing solo stuff. I mean, it was just such a great time for R&B. And I mean
now I don't even, I mean, what's considered R&B nowadays?
It's weird because so much of it's dance in my mind.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's like dance music at this point. Like, you have to be able to have some choreographed routine.
Yeah.
And I don't know what young people are getting down to at this point in terms of when they're getting what they're putting on. unless they're using our stuff or the stuff our parents used.
Nah, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think they're listening to our stuff. I don't think they're. I don't know. It's a weird time. It's
They're hooking up
2020.
to Drake.
Drake is so. You know what? That's another day. We'll talk about Drake.
Yeah,
You know, because you can't knock Drake, say he don't have hits. I mean, the brother got hits.
you got
He's
hits.
just not. He's just. I don't know. He just doesn't. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
He has hits, but I feel like, and this isn't just him. This is the whole streaming generation, which again is probably another topic for another day.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to really remember those hits like 15, 20 years from now. Like we're talking about Prince's Cream and you know, Boys to Men and Jodeci, because we remember these things because they made an impact and we had the albums and we remember the videos. I think the stuff today it's recycled too quickly.
That last point you made, that last point, videos, that plays a role right here. When you see something and you attach it to a sound and you visualize it, it stays in there. Like it's downloaded in there. Where now they don't have it. I mean, they have videos, but it's not, you don't see them everywhere. There's no MTV, there's no VH1 doesn't play videos anymore. They do.
No, you have to watch. If you want a new video, you have to go to YouTube and actually look for it.
Exactly.
To watch it. And listen, the most viewed music video in YouTube history right now is Baby Shark.
Baby Shark.
Yeah.
Oh, that shit's.
And the next one is Despacito, and it ain't for the music. I mean, let's be real here.
Wait, what song? What's the second one?
Despacito.
Who sings? Is that Shakira?
No, that's Bieber was on the remix.
Oh, Selena. That's the Selena Gomez one?
No. I'm going to Google it right now because I feel terrible not remembering this. It was like the biggest hit a couple years ago.
Okay.
Louis Fonsi, Daddy Yankee. So it's a Louis Fonsi song. And it's funny when you Google it, the first thing people ask is, why is Despacito so popular?
Yeah, right? Because I try to stay in the know to an extent, but I never even heard of that joint before.
That one was, no, believe me, if you heard it, you know it immediately.
Okay.
Yeah, it's one of those songs where it's just like, okay, I didn't know it was that, but it was that. By the way, I'm going to turn on a light now because it's been 37 minutes and the sun has been in 7 different places.
You know what, though, bro? Like you said, we're about to roll up out of here anyway, man. But I just want to say thank you so much for your time, your expertise, your beautiful book. Plug it right there. Everyone pick up 32 copies and just pick them up and give them away and let people read them. Men's health, we gotta definitely take care of ourselves, and if something's off, get the ego out the way and figure out what we need to do and learn and grow and develop. Like I said,
once a month, check it in the shower. Once a month, check it in the shower. If one feels hard, if one feels like it's hanging a little low, see somebody, call a urologist. It's that's what they're here for.
Exactly.
And if you're our age, you're going to feel super young because everyone else in the waiting room is going to be 40 years older than you. It's true.
Yo, you bugging, man. But no, he's right. 1,000% right, man. It's a pleasure speaking with you, chatting with you. We definitely got to do this again because your perspective and your views are dope. And I love just speaking with people, A, that's from my era, and B, we can just riff and figure some things out and have different perspectives on all that.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been a real pleasure. I can't wait to send out the link to everybody and get everybody to watch it. And, you know, before I go, I have to say, Vanessa Hudgens, if you're watching it, for the love of God, holler at me, please.
Yes, Vanessa, please holler at him, please.
At Adam's World Blog, Twitter.
The next time you got to have like a chain and just have all your joints up there.
Oh yeah, I almost put my name on this as at Adam's World Blog, but I know so many people. I don't use Instagram. Everyone else is on Instagram. I'm on Twitter. So,
what's your take on the new Twitter fleets, whatever that is?
I have no idea, man. I'm too old for all this stuff. Like, that's why I stopped at Twitter. I was like, okay, I can do this. Then like, what about Instagram? What about Snapchat? What about whatever the next thing was? I'm like, let me just write my tweets and go on about my day. I don't need – listen, this might be something for another show. I still don't have a smartphone.
Whoa.
I still use the slide phone of yesteryear.
Whoa.
I've had this phone for, I want to say, at least a dozen years.
And this shit still works?
I have dropped it so many times. The one thing I'll say is I did buy a new battery for it on eBay. I think I paid $1.50.
You bugging. You bugging right now.
I mean, there's a long story behind why, but I never want to live in my phone.
You like what you like, right?
I want to live in the world.
There you go, bro. I feel you. Adam, always a pleasure, bro. Thank you so much, man. We definitely got to do this again, bro.
Thank you. Absolutely. Anytime. Just let me know.
No doubt. Peace.
Peace. Hey.